Yellowstone. Just that word has something sacred to it, something sacred in its meaning. Just the word Yellowstone evokes powerful emotions. It fuels the imagination and spirit for those from all over the globe. I've always said that Yellowstone is a holy place for those whose temples are the mountains and the wilderness. A place like no other that fills the soul with excitement and energy. Yellowstone is a place of pilgrimage. It's a place that brings people from all over the world that they feel they simply have to visit. It's one of the 7 wonders. And once one visits this remarkable wilderness, it's hard to ever leave. But you will be back, because it's knowing that there's still a place like Yellowstone that allows one to sleep at night, to go on in peace. I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of youth to bring inner city kids out to this region, and to see their responses, it's quite spectacular. Just the word Yellowstone has a power all of its own. It's one of the most magical, inspirational, and for many spiritual places on our planet. I always have to diverge a little bit when I see these folks. There's 29 essays in my book. The longest essay in the book really would qualify as a mini novella. It's about 29,000 words. Okay, it's about this trip on Bliss Pass. I think this is one of the great regions of Yellowstone National Park. Bliss Pass, if you haven't taken this hike, it's a somewhat brutal hike, but it's a phenomenal one. And I wrote a piece called Grizzly Bears and White Bark Pine for the Yellowstone Association. This gentleman was a member, liked the piece, so he wrote an email to the Yellowstone Association, forwarded it to me. I'm always make the habit of writing them back, and he saw I was a fly fishing guy. So he asked if I would take him and his wife, he's about 63 years old, on this trip, on a backpacking trip. He said it'll be my last one. So I gave him 3 options, easy, medium, hard. He chose hard, okay? After he chose hard, he told me he didn't want to carry more than a 20-pound pack. I'm all of about $160, okay? And so I wasn't going to be carrying more than a 60-pound pack. So as the head varsity basketball coach at Gardner High, where we have a rose ceremony, where they give each graduate 4 roses to the people who've made they have 4 roses to give to the people who've made the biggest impact in their life. And I have about 23 of them hanging on my wall. I cashed in on the rose ceremony and got 2 Sherpas for free. So I had these kids hauling this gear, and I said, look, we were an upstart nonprofit with very few donors. This guy had the potential to be my biggest donor. I said, we cannot mess this one up, fellas. So we went through it over and over again. So on this day, I sent them up over Bliss Pass. My clients here, who later became friends, are only carrying about 20 pounds. I've got about 55, 60 pounds. The boys had probably close to 80 pounds. So they were to climb up over Bliss Pass, this is the summit, drop down Bliss Pass, which is a real precipitous, steep descent, about 1,800 feet in 2 miles. You walk past 3P3 and you camp at 3P2. So there's designated campsites in Yellowstone where we have bear poles. They were so happy because we'd made it up the summit, and he was busting my balls the whole way up saying, this is a lot longer than 5 miles. I said, no, we're going to get there. We got up to the summit. He was happy. This essay would have been about 2,000 words at this point. It ends up being 29,000 words. So we wait for the boys. They never show up. We descend to camp. We walk into camp. The tents are supposed to be set up. I sent them with all the food. I sent them with everything. That camp was untouched. He's dropping bombs. I'm dropping bombs. It's their anniversary. It's August. Little did we know that it'd get down to 28 degrees that night. Okay? So I run up to the next campsite, which is about a half mile up. And I'd never seen anything like this. These people looked like they were car camping in the backcountry. They had a horse packer bring them in. So they had a cooler, they had 2 tents, a 5-man tent that 3 girls were staying in, and a little 2-man tent. I made friends with these people. They gave us some gear. So we go back, we start cooking. They gave us a nice stove, gave us some food. Like, this isn't going to work, so I went back to them. They gave me a tarp. I kept asking for one of their tents. He said, no bueno, this isn't going to happen. So he gave us a tarp. Well, I was a ranger, not a Boy Scout. My lean-to was not good. Okay, and when I set up this lean-to and I looked at John Dolensek's face, he looked horrified. So I said, I'm going back up. He goes, where are you going back up there? I said, I'm going to get a tent. He said, he told you he's not going to give you a tent. I said, I'm going to get you a tent. He liked the ingenuity that I would try and go to this length in the backcountry. So I go back up. Now it's dark. I broke my toe on the way up, stubbed my toe. had put in an extra close to 3 miles at this point. I get up to the campsite. You can't knock on a tent, so I kind of scratch on it. And this gentleman says, Michael, we're done. We're through. I said, Ed, I just need to talk to you real briefly. He said, Michael, I've given you all I can. I said, Ed, can I just have one more moment of your time? So he comes out, and I said, Ed, I need one of these tents. He said, Michael, you're not getting one of these tents. And we went round and round, and I saw his fly rod for the first time. I said, you're a fly fisherman, aren't you? He said, yes. I said, have you ever floated the longest free-flowing river in the lower 48 states with a guide, the Yellowstone? He said, nope. I go, it's a $575 value. I'll give you one right now for that tent. He goes, sold, get out, honey. So they started breaking her down. He said, should we pack it up? I go, no, just put it in my arm. So I'm walking down. I'm feeling so relieved. And right as I get to camp, the radio starts crackling. The boys come calling in. Justin, Zazie, Coach, I could get your butts down here. I just gave away $575. So I go back up to him. I said, Ed, great news. I said, the boys are here. I don't need the tent. He goes, that is great news. We've been worried about your boys. He goes, but that tent is sold. I'll see you in the morning. And so that was that journey. We had a great night's sleep. The next day, we actually bumped into a female with 3 cubs of the year, which was one of the few females with 3 cubs of the year that season. It was a very poor whitebark pine year, which I'll touch upon here in a little bit. But this is one of the few remaining places left where men and women, people of all ages, colors, and backgrounds can come and reconnect with the natural world and see it in its most primeval state. It's a place to become revitalized. And in this one's case, a place to find where they belong in the world. Now, each and every night, people will say, Rev, you're a dreamer. You're too romantic with the land. There's no place that can do all of this. But I will challenge that person. And I will tell that person that there is still a place that can do all of this and much, much more. And it's a place that we know by one big, bold, and very audacious word: Yellowstone.